Haram members are surrendering women and children. Where are their gun trucks, Babajide? On the Wednesday edition of the Journalists Hangout, Babajide shared his thoughts on the repentant Boko Haram members who recently surrendered to the Nigerian government. Here's what Babajide Kolade Otitoju said. The government is planning a de-radicalization program for repentant Boko Haram members, but there are people in the IDP camps who have been subjected to a life of misery by Boko Haram. What has the government done for those people? In Maiduguri alone, there are more than 20 IDP camps, and all local government headquarters in Borno State are IDP camps. The people in IDP camps live from hand to mouth based on the wickedness visited upon them by Boko Haram members. How does the government want to reintegrate repentant Boko Haram members into the society without a coordinated program to ensure that their host communities genuinely receive them? Ayo, I have told you about the story of a young girl who was rescued from Boko Haram but was stigmatized by her people. This young lady went back into the Sambisa forest by herself. The de-radicalization of repentant Boko Haram members has become a big issue for the governor of Borno State. If you look closely, you will realize that ISWAP, which is the deadliest faction of Boko Haram, has refused to surrender. Now, the Shakal faction of Boko Haram have been sending their wives, children, and other members of their families to surrender. These ones are not active Boko Haram members. That is why you see a lot of women and very few men with their weapons. If Boko Haram is surrendering, where are their gun trucks and anti-aircraft guns? That is why I am saying that the government needs to be careful that the de-radicalization of repentant insurgents does not backfire. So the question of the article poses to the actual audience says, Dear Nigerians, what is your take on what Babajide Kolade Otitoju has said? And he's right. The fact that you want to reintegrate criminals in itself is crazy. Nowhere in the world would that be. I mean, these people have terrorized your country and you're thinking of letting them go scot-free. And then not only that, you're then thinking of their welfare in societies. Imagine you are literally treating the criminals even better than the victims themselves. This is why the whole North needs to be angry, because these girls have been in captivity for 7 years, and I have had to bear kids for some of these people. And of course, it's like, how rude can they be? Yeah, I think it's just, I don't know. Even top countries with the best military defense in the world are not doing things like this. Logically, it does not make sense. Why would you integrate your enemies back into society? You're taking them back to the host communities that they kidnapped, maimed, bombed, did so many things to. Does that make sense? So I think this is enough to get the people aggravated in the host communities where Boko Haram was really, strong. And there needs to be some sort of backlash, like a huge, heavy, united backlash against the government, because it's absolutely, for lack of a better word, it's just so, it's shockingly unintelligent. Like how it's so unintelligent. It really is. The move, it just does not make sense at all. You have criminals, and yet you have excessive military presence in the southeast, and people who are just members of a group of IPOB are getting killed like this. Not that they're actually members, but they're alleged members. Not that you try them, or you investigate, you kill them because you assume they were part of IPOB. Those ones lose their lives. But these ones, of course not. In fact, you put them in government. In fact, they're already in government, to be honest, at this point. Because I'm so confused how you're looking out for criminals and terrorists than your own people that you are meant to serve. Does that make sense? Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. Why should it make sense? Why? And it's just like, the country just keeps surprising you every single time. You get to a point where you're like, oh, nothing that Nigeria does can surprise me. And they just keep getting better. So sad. Someone says, very simple, they're preparing for a mother of all battles without any hindrance from their weak member. That's why they've been sent home. They will also be in good stead to provide information when it's time. The action of the government will backfire. Of course it will back. What do you mean? Of course it will backfire. And it's like, it's just like, okay, fine. Sometimes things are so complex where you're like, you know what, maybe we can't foresee what, the backlash could be. But in this case, I'm like, how evident is it that this is such an unintelligent move? And then we claim to have an intelligence team. We came to have an intelligence team in the military. For what intelligence team? Because all this is very unintelligent. For an intelligence team that's meant to be strategic in terms of, fighting and all that, it's very unintelligent for me. The irony of it all. The irony of it all. Another commenter says here, they are smarter than the government. They prosecute and jail all of them for the evil atrocities they have done. Can you count how many lives lost both civilian and soldiers? Can you count how many billions of dollars spent? Can you count the damage? The Nigerian government image. Let all of them end in jail without parole. I hope you don't regret this move. Who is we? And the thing is, it's a correct statement. It's we, even though the government is making a decision and the people are not with it, it's going to be a we thing because everybody's going to suffer. I hope you don't regret this move to potentially taking Boko Haram returnees, only to find later that we just fought for the gimmick of the terrorists in line with their strategy as orchestrated by ISIS. All right. Someone here says, Babajide Kalade Ototoju is a wise man. He has spoken the truth of the matter. Well, I wouldn't really say wise man. I mean, that's your opinion, but there are a lot of things that he says that I totally disagree with, but this is one of the things, rarely, for the first time in like how many articles, that I agree with him. I totally agree. It's so shocking. I'm like, how obvious? Like, can you not see? Because there's no analysis. There's no need analyzing this because it's so blatant and so evident. And if you cannot see why this is an unintelligent move, you are part of Nigeria's problems. That is very true. You are, because what's your justification as to why this move is not unintelligent? Why? Exactly, silence. And it's so sad. It is so sad because these women and children most likely are the children right now, newborns, just 2, 3, 4 years old, most 5 years old, 6 years old. They are probably children as a result of rape from the terrorists and the kidnap of the Chibok girls. So all this it's just complex and tiring, but we are in trouble. We really are. What do I think about this? And don't forget to like and subscribe.